Let's turn now to the question of how to get schools reopened. It's something on a lot of parents' minds, a lot of students' minds. Yesterday, Cambridge University said it would become the first university in Britain to move all student lectures online for the entire upcoming academic year. The university adds it may be possible to host smaller teaching groups in person if they meet social distancing requirements. That news on the heels of what we reported yesterday, that the University of Notre Dame plans to resume in-person classes on August 10th, starting 2 weeks earlier than usual and foregoing a fall break so students can complete the semester by Thanksgiving in hopes of reducing the likelihood students would bring back the virus to campus. Students will then not return to campus after Thanksgiving again until January. The University of South Carolina plans to bring students back to campus on August 20th, have them leave before Thanksgiving, and then take final exams online. And yesterday, New York University announced it will resume in-person classes this fall. Joining us now, former NATO Supreme Allied Commander, retired four-star Navy Admiral James Stavridis. He is Chief International Security and Diplomacy Analyst for NBC News and MSNBC. The Admiral also spent 5 years as Dean of the Fletcher School at Tufts University, as had been involved in advising several universities on how to open this fall. Admiral, good morning. It's great to have you with us. So how are you approaching this? Obviously, every state is different. Every school is different in terms of how many cases that state might have. Notre Dame in Indiana is different from South Carolina in Columbia, and certainly NYU in Manhattan, where, of course, New York State and New York City have had the most cases. What's the thread between those? Why did they all feel like they could open in August?
I think three things are driving the train toward more in-person classes, Willie. First of all, it's the demand signal from the students. When I was dean for 5 years at Tufts University, I used to say to the faculty, there's another name for students, customers. And you've got to respond to that demand. If you're Oxford or Cambridge, I guess you can sort of say, yeah, we'll do it online for a year. If you're a small to mid-sized school in the United States, you're very tuition dependent. Your students want to come. That's what they're paying for. These are high prices, so demand is driving this. Number two, it's a realization that the population is relatively young. We are seeing that this is probably the strongest health-wise cohort in the population, kind of between young children who may get this terrible secondary disease and the COVID risk portion, which is obviously kind of in my age group. So I think number two is you've got a pretty healthy population. And then number three, and this is crucial, the universities want to teach. Their faculties want to teach. They want to keep them safe, but they're exploring hybrid models that I think include some online component, some speed up the timing of the class so that the students do get home by the Thanksgiving break and you don't bring them all back, and some level of online classes. So it'll be a mix, kind of a bicycle with several gears, I would say. But the advice I'm giving presidents of universities, deans of schools, is communicate to the students, get close to the faculty. You've got to get buy-in from them, and don't respond to peer pressure. Come up with a model that fits for your institution.
So, Admiral, what does it look like? Let's take the University of South Carolina, big public university, SEC school, about 35,000 in its enrollment. What does that look like when they go back in August in terms of how many kids are in a class? How are they living in dorms? All the things that are such a part of college life. How do you mitigate with all these kids being on top of each other and living together?
I've seen a variety of different ideas about doing this. One is kind of a throwback, if you will, to the ancient Greeks, but it's hold some classes outside. Another is bring in smaller classrooms and create that 6-foot separation. Smaller numbers of students in the classroom, obviously. That means doing some teaching at night. That means doing some teaching on the weekends. It means getting cooperation from the faculty to kind of stretch it out. A number of small schools, Willie, are looking at bringing in the freshmen for whom this experience, as we all know, is so seminal. When you come in, that first year away from home is crucial. and bringing in the seniors who are having their senior year, and then taking some portion of the sophomores and juniors, doing them online. That creates space in the university or in the college setting that you can use to create that social distancing. Also, events, social events are going to have to adapt to this. It's going to be an extreme challenge, and I hear it in the voices of these university and college presidents, community college. I'm talking across this higher ed spectrum. It's a time of real challenge in this sector.
Admiral, thank you so much. And now to how all the students are feeling about this, let's bring into the conversation the editor-in-chief of Cosmopolitan magazine, Jess Pals. And Jess, you guys have a really robust interaction with a large amount of young people. How are they feeling about going back to school or going to college, returning to college? And are they taking steps to sort of take control of the situation in any way?
We're seeing that college students are disappointed but not discouraged, which is great. The vast majority of them do not plan to drop out of school, and most of them feel that their schools handled the initial closures really well. The real concern that we're seeing is a monetary one. Students want to make sure that they're really getting their money's worth. And when the fall semester kicks off, all online classes and no campus life do not a college experience make. So I think, for schools that make those decisions, that's where we're going to see trends of students taking gap years or even transferring to less expensive institutions.
Yeah, and I mean, the idea of going into a dorm, are they nervous about it? Are they thinking about it? I'm worried they may not be mindful enough about it because this is such a fine balance for universities. It's going to be very hard to strike it right, but in some cases they will be returning.
Yes, there's certainly an eagerness to have this experience, but young people are very conscientious about the safety and the timing. What's interesting to me is that we polled our audience about the Notre Dame news, and most of our readers feel that August 10 is too early to resume in-person classes, to be in a dorm setting. So they want to be safe, but they want the experience, and juggling those two things is where they are right now.
Jess Pals, thank you so much. Talk to you once again very soon. Thank you.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.